Welcome to People. I'm Shirley Lin. Today my guest is Shirley Lin, who is the producer of this documentary called Trash to Treasure, which was recently nominated for a Golden Bell for the Best Nonfiction Director Award. Well, let's welcome Shirley. Hi, Shirley.
Hi. Hi, Shirley.
Yes, good to have you here. Thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you. Nice to be here, too.
All right. So your actually title is director at your company, which is Dynamic Communications Company.
Yes.
And but this time for this documentary, you were the producer. And actually, you've been producer and director for quite many documentaries. But let's go way back, like how you got into filming. I know that you also got into art before. You actually studied abroad. So you want to go way back and talk about all that?
Back 20-something years ago.
Whatever.
So I graduated from high school here in Taiwan. I was born and raised in Taiwan. And then I went to, actually the first year I went to Texas. Went to Texas to study for English. The first year, like the language school.
Yeah.
And then I went to Los to study art, fine arts, because my mother is an artist. So
Right.
Yeah, so growing up, I always wanted to be an artist.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you were into calligraphy and all that too. I mean, like you've got some real deep, Chinese roots in your art that you started with.
Yeah, my mom is a traditional Chinese painter and calligrapher. So me and my brother, we were trained to practice Chinese calligraphy and Chinese paintings when we were a little kid. I think we start to practice Chinese calligraphy before I can hold a pen.
Are you serious?
Uh-huh.
Really?
Yeah, so we can both write Chinese calligraphy pretty well till now, I think.
Yeah? Well, you know that my mom kept one of my calligraphy books. And I don't know if your mom kept yours and your brother's till now, for...
Probably not, I doubt.
Oh, well, that's too bad, because I know a lot of foreigners think that calligraphy is like drawing. It's art. It's not writing, And it is a beautiful thing. But I think, do you think it helps you with discipline, learning calligraphy?
Yes, definitely. I think it has a big impact, big influence on me to what I'm doing now, because I study Chinese calligraphy and Chinese painting, and then I changed to more Western contemporary art when I was in college.
Right.
But all the contemporary art, you can still see those elements, like the Chinese calligraphy and paintings. And the later, actually, I study in grad school, I study experimental animation. And my animation was all done ink on rice paper.
That is amazing. You did them all yourself.
Yes.
The painting using ink on rice paper. Why rice paper in particular? Because I know it kind of, what do you call it? It spreads the ink. And that's the effect you wanted to give. Sort of like a mystical kind of feeling.
The rice paper itself, the texture, it's kind of half transparent, and then if you touch it, one side is smooth, the other side it's more rough.
Right.
So it's very different than any type of paper, like regular paper. So I mean, I always have this special connection with rice paper and ink. That's why, like later on, a lot of my artwork, I still choose to use that as my medium.
All right. Call me ignorant. When you use the rice paper, do you use the rough side or the smooth side?
Smooth side.
Oh, okay. All right. So, yeah, I do see a lot of that, the Chinese painting and using ink and rice paper in a lot of your artwork. And then there's also this other element that I feel like you try to focus on a lot is simply the topic women.
Yes.
Yeah, why is that? Why do you feel so strongly about or like trying to make a statement, the fact that you are a woman and that you are a special woman?
I'm a special woman. Actually, that also has something to do with Chinese calligraphy and painting in a strange way, because talk about discipline. It's a connection between me and my mother as mother, like 这个 woman kind of connection, but close way.
Yeah.
But when I do Chinese paintings and calligraphy, because the history of this art form, it's very different than the Western contemporary art. It requires you to say, if you sit, you have to sit straight. If you write, you have to, lift your arm. You have to breathe certain ways. And as a woman...
Breathing too?
Yes.
Really?
If you stop, let's say if you write one piece of calligraphy and you stop halfway, you go to the bathroom. You come back, the writing will be different. So they say, 一气呵成. You have to breathe when you start.
On one breath.
Yes, throughout the whole piece.
Oh.
Yeah, and then also in Chinese painting and calligraphy, they emphasize the moral part. It's not only the technique, it's important. You have to have this high moral to be the best painter and calligrapher.
Yeah.
And I always thought that's kind of symbolized like the restriction to, as an Asian female artist, you have all these rules. It's a strange connection, but that's how I see it. And as a Asian female artist in Taiwan, you do have all these pressure either from family or from society. There are certain things you can do, certain things you cannot do. And for example, I remember like as a little girl, my grandmother wouldn't let me, when I had my period, my grandmother wouldn't let me be near like the temple or touch the incense,
Yeah, this is all, how to call it? It's religiously related or maybe a superstition.
Yeah.
It's supposedly an omen, to do certain things. Yeah, okay.
So, and I mean, that's just one, maybe a little bit extreme example, but there are many things. I think growing up, I found it's a little bit difficult. And, as an artist and as a woman artist, that's why a lot of my project, it's about women. So my first animation, it's called Woman. Before that, a lot of my painting, it's about this little girl struggling between East and West, good and wrong, what's good, what's a good Chinese, Taiwanese woman should act,
Shirley, you to me seems to be a very outspoken woman and who is not afraid to make a statement and who, is not ashamed to let people know, the delicate side of women or something, because you're very expressive in the artworks that you do, especially these animations, and like, you actually have the part in there about women getting the period and that kind of stuff. I would be kind of squeamish, because I don't know, but you're not afraid to express that. And I think eventually also in your other works, as time went on. Why this boldness? Do you think different cultures has affected you? Or is it your mother? Or is it the different countries you've lived in? And I know you've lived in the States. Have you also lived in Europe as well?
Only